How long did it take for you to make your investment back?
Took me 10 days.
10 days versus 18 months. What would you tell that person who's so hesitant to invest into themselves?
It's better for you to walk with someone to point out the obvious problems and get them fixed immediately rather than spinning your wheels thinking that you're smart enough to fix them. And in this coaching, I thought I knew sales, but then I got in front of some sales guys and realized I knew nothing.
Welcome back. We got my boy Hanz here. This is a totally different type of interview here because this isn't your typical high ticket sales drop shipping course. Like Hanz has a very different process here. So I'll let you take it away, man. Tell the people, who are you? What do you sell?
Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, music producer, sell music production services. My goal is to integrate artist development with creating very long-lasting records for artists. So that be the primary focus of my, I guess, offer.
Okay, and you'll see the you see the plaques back there, right? We got Billboard, we got iTunes, we got Grammy nominated. Like Hans here is a pretty big deal. And when it comes to, we're not going to talk about we're not going to talk too much about numbers here, but as far as like units moved, new artists worked with, like how many were you working with before and after we started working together?
Yeah, so I was doing about maybe one a month, maybe one every other month, just depends on the season. But then I went from one to about four a month.
So that's 4x, 4x. And when you were doing one a month, like what were some of the biggest challenges you were having?
No real structure in regards to the call. Coming from the
Hmm.
music industry, we're kind of conditioned to say that we need to be friends first before we can talk numbers and business. But I've decided to, give sales coaching a chance. And what I discovered, at least in my experience, is that it's better to come up with a solution-based mind. Say, hey, this is, what you're trying to do. This is what you're trying to accomplish. This is what we can do. This is what the process is to do it. And in doing that, it had translated to
Hmm.
me getting way more projects than before.
Yeah. And I know that was something that you had hesitations about, right? What were, I guess, your hesitations with getting straight to business rather than, having the rapport? Like, how were you seeing it before? I remember we talked about this extensively on our first call.
Yeah, how I was seeing it before was, like I said before, usually we've been conditioned to build rapport with artists, but unfortunately, in doing that, you are kind of diluting the purpose of the relationship. Like for a producer, usually producers have somewhat of a type A personality. And when you're telling, people who are type A personality, hey, hold back and, make sure the artist feels comfortable, you kind of dilute the conversation, sort of the purpose of the relationship.
Yeah.
And your training, your coaching, I can actually just be myself and say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish. This is what we can do. This is what it's going to look like. And in doing so, for whatever reason, it's translated to more projects, but also the artists, at least in the feedback, like they're much more comfortable with me and we get things going faster, but also it just been an overall better experience.
Yeah, it sounds like they had respect for you before, but they respect you more now, right? Like you're not building this like fake relationship, fake rapport to ultimately you're here to solve a problem. So it sounds like you got straight to that, which they appreciated, right? And previously with that process, how many calls would it take until you actually were able to close a deal, like on average? How many conversations, how many Zoom calls was it?
So it depends. Sometimes it's two, sometimes it's three. And one of the things that we
Mm-hmm.
worked on was, can you consolidate that to one? Initially, I was hesitant because I was like, no, I need to have a rapport call. And you were just like, try one. And in doing that, that consolidating it to one, make the call more focused. And the artists were more likely to say, hey, oh, yeah, I'll hire you for this particular project or to produce this album. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. From two to three to one. And the thing that you had apprehension about is like, well, they're going to think that I'll let you describe it. Like, what did you think they would perceive you as if you just got straight to business?
I thought I would scare them off. I think my biggest hesitation, I didn't understand sales. I think in your program, I finally understood like what sales is. I'm here to help. This is a
Hmm.
solution, and I have experience to get you where you need to go. And in coming in a call with that, And keeping that the focus has allowed me to kind of just throw that out the window and say, like, have the confidence, like, yeah, I know why I'm here. I know why we're on a call. I think you're dope, would love to
Hmm.
work with you. And this is the process, but let's find out like why the process you're doing before it isn't working, why you're not getting the results. So if you do want to be on, you want to make a record that's Grammy nominated or get on Billboard, whatever the case may be, let's talk about that. And then these are the steps and move forward.
Oh yeah, being a more of an authority, right? Like this is my call, and this is what we're here to talk about, as opposed to I'm here to be your friend. And I love that, and I can see it in your calls too, right? And like, how long were you taking sales calls before we started working together?
So I think I did I think I did something like, let me not lie, I think it was close to 200 calls or something like
How
that.
long did that take you? How many years?
Let's see, I went full time May 1st of 2024. So we're looking
Hmm.
at what, almost 18 months or so.
A year and a half. And in that year and a half, what was your process for skill development?
So my process, like a lot of people, just go on YouTube and try to implement as much as you can and try to make as, pragmatic selves. But that
Hmm.
didn't really translate to more projects. And I think the reason why was because I didn't have anyone there to talk my language. I mean, granted, yeah, I'm a studio rat. I'm in here all the time, but in talking to
Yeah.
you and other people in the programs, like, what is PIF? What does that mean? What does that mean? And then it took a while before I got the vernacular and go, oh, okay, this is actually like a science. This is something you can actually do.
Hmm.
And another thing as well to kind of like jump the gun, but just put this little quip in here. Um, your coaching, how it helped me was it made me a better producer. And what I mean by that is it allowed me to take lead in the actual sessions, whether it's virtual or in person. And I remember one of my clients, she said, "You're a session leader." I was like, "I don't know what that means, but I think I kind of get it." But basically, it's just like with anything else, within I guess the self hemisphere is that it made me say, "Hey, this is where we're gonna go. This is the direction." And lead not with confidence but competence. Like I know what this process looks like. I know everything that can go well, everything that can go wrong. And in doing that, even if I'm an artist, whether they're very laid back or very type A, the
Hmm.
experience has been pretty much the same, which is it's allowed me to sort of grab the steering wheel and just direct it to where it needs to go.
That's interesting, man. I don't think we've talked about that one. So do you feel like you have more frame like with them as actual clients now versus before?
Yeah, here's the thing. Before when it's on a call, it's just like, hey, what kind of song do you want to make? Which is very surface level. Understanding your program and understanding subconsciously what's happening, what I have done is I now have a better understanding of the identity that they're using to create music. When I talk to them, because I have a bit of music theory understanding, when they say, "Hey, I want a song where I want, I want it to feel sad," it's like, well, what does that mean? And then get down to the deep. It's like, oh, it's like, do you want to cry? You want the other
Shit.
person to cry, and so that helps me with the chord structure and the BPM and everything else. And that has somehow, I haven't been able to articulate it, but somehow it's translated to just a much more seamless process. Like the projects, there's almost no bottlenecks. So I don't know if like you gave me the theme, the keystone or whatever, but that's how that's
Yeah.
helped.
That's sick. I love that. Yeah. And I'm glad that we saved that one for the interview because I didn't know that. It's like when you have more frame on the sales call, you have more frame in the relationship, right? Because like the people who you don't have, even if they buy, right? The people who you don't have frame in the sales call, then you work with them and they're the ones trying to tell you what to do and trying to tell you how this is going to go and whatnot. But if you fucking show them who's daddy from day one, they're like, okay, I'm going to trust this guy's leadership. So that's sick. That's a sick one right there. And so with what we were talking, and thank you for sharing, with what we were talking about with how long you had been taking sales calls, which is a year and a half. You'd taken over 200 sales calls, and your process was like YouTube University. Two things. One, how long did it take for you to make your investment back?
It took me 10 days.
10 days versus 18 months, right? What had prevented you from just getting, so even with not me, you probably didn't know I existed 18 months ago, but what had prevented you from getting support sooner and sticking to the YouTube university?
So here's the thing, and I've learned this from my business coach, is that for most entrepreneurs, whenever you're starting a business, if it's the first time, here's the thing. This is actually my fifth business, but this is the furthest I've ever gone in my entrepreneurial journey. So there are bottlenecks that are staring me in the face right now that I have no context.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that thing I don't know what it is that I don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
in doing this, when on our call, you said, he's like, how long have you been trying to fix this problem? I said 3 months. He said, so why have you fixed it in 3 months? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I thought I was like by doing my research. Yeah. But it's doing research, is that translated? I was like, no. And is that thing where I was able to sort of like notice like, oh, this is the problem. I think that was the biggest thing, is that in being in coaching programs like this, you're working with someone
Mm-hmm.
who has a better understanding of your situation than you do. In this case, it was like, well, why am I not closing my projects? I was like, I'm super dope here. I can do this. I can play the piano a little bit. Da, da, da. And it's like, it's none of that. It's what frame are you using for the calls? It's like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Mm. So you thought the reason you weren't closing deals, well, you weren't sure, but maybe it's like, I need to get better as a producer, but fuck, I'm good as a producer. Like, what's not landing, right? And so that's another interesting point. So there's somebody watching this right now who has been spinning their wheels for a similar amount of time, maybe year and a half, maybe 6 months, maybe 3 months, and they maybe have been watching every single video I post, right? And they're trying to piece it together. What would you tell that person who's so hesitant to invest into themselves and continues trying to piece it together, similar to how you were before us? Like, what advice would you give them?
It's better for you to walk with someone to point out the obvious problems and get them fixed immediately rather
Mm-hmm.
than spinning your wheels thinking that you're smart enough to fix them. Because what you're missing is the process and the information. And in this coaching, I thought I knew sales, but then I got in front of some sales guys and realized I knew nothing.
I love that. I love that. And I think the biggest takeaway that I want whoever's listening to hear is A, you can just speed up the process. One, right? And B, I think a lot of people, the story that they tell themselves is that, well, that only works with like one particular type of avatar, or that only works with one particular type of industry. And guys, sales is sales. People are people. There's going to be reasons that they'll buy and reasons that they won't. They're going to use very similar language patterns. If Hans can do it with music producers, I mean musical artists, whoever you sell to, we can make it work. So appreciate you, dog. I know we're still working together, so we're not done here. The job's not finished. Now we're working on raising those prices. Any last words for the viewers? Any last
The viewers are music producers.
thing? Both.
I guess for music producers, I would say that because we wear a lot of hats, that investing in yourself, the skills would translate in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought I was just solving sales, and it solved not only the projects, but it gave me another skill set in the studio, which made me not confident, competent. Like I was like, oh, I know how this is
Mm-hmm.
going to go. For the overall viewers, I think because I know people are hesitant on coaching, I just think it's better to just what's the word? Just collapse the timeline. Like it's better to go in for 2 and 3 months and go, oh, okay, cool. Now I have everything I need rather than go 3 years and you're trying to solve the same problem over and over. I think the best metric to measure if you are learning or getting better is looking at either revenue or just actual like how far are you from the goal line? And if you're no
Oh,
further
yeah.
from going to YouTube University, then you need to find a coach in whatever realm that you decide.
That's right. That's right. I love that. I've probably said that like multiple times. You're dropping game here. Well, thank you for listening. First of all, thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for listening. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.